Hi, welcome to the galley. Now, today we are making seared salmon with strawberry salsa. With the end of strawberry season, I went to the strawberry fields and I stocked up, and honestly, they're just about done. And it's a sad, sad day. But this is one of my all-time favorite dishes to make with strawberries. I know it sounds weird, but strawberry and salmon, it is a beautiful match. So let's get started. So if you go over to the website for the recipe, I wrote the recipe for 4 people, 4 pieces of salmon, and for that I called for 2 cups of strawberries, and you just want to roughly chop those strawberries to about that size. So I'm going to get all this chopped up. I'm not going to make you sit through me chopping all these strawberries, and then we'll be right back. Salmon, I'm going to add a tablespoon of chopped shallots. I really like shallots here just because it's much milder than if I was to do an onion, and usually 1 does the trick. And I'm going to do about a teaspoon of minced garlic. Sorry, this is my asparagus too. Season it while I'm seasoning this. I am going to do some basil, and I'm going to do about 7 leaves of basil. So I'm going to chiffonade this. I'm just going to put them all together. I'm going to roll them up really tight and make these pretty little ribbons. And you can go ahead and do them like that, but for this I like to give them a couple more chops and just not too fine, but just kind of easier to eat. And then we want to add some balsamic, but I want to talk to you about my balsamic before we go adding it. So let's talk about balsamic. Now, I always have 2 balsamics. I have a really, really nice real balsamic vinegar, aged real balsamic vinegar that I use for things like this, or kind of drizzling over the top. And then I have a less expensive, not real balsamic vinegar that I use for things like marinating vegetables I'm going to grill or roast or something like that. So this is kind of that. It's inexpensive. It says it's balsamic, but real balsamic vinegars only have 1 ingredient, and that is going to say grape musk. That's the only ingredient that you're going to see in true real balsamic vinegar. For the not so balsamic vinegar, now they use normally red wine vinegar, and then they just do a little touch of grape musk to give it that balsamic taste. Now that true real balsamic vinegar is going to be thick and rich and sweet, tangy, and just beautiful. And normally they're going to be well over $20 a bottle. Some of them have color added, so I always try to find one that says caramel color free, because you don't want artificial colors in there. So for the ones that are least expensive, they give you that balsamic feel. And anything, if you buy a bottle of glaze, that is, trust me, that is all red wine vinegar with a little bit of that grape musk. But these that are less expensive, I'll use things for like my vegetables if I'm grilling them or roasting them, because I wouldn't want to use that super expensive real balsamic on that. But for this, I do want to use a really, really good balsamic vinegar. If I'm drizzling over something, you save that for the really important thing. So when you're making this, get a really good balsamic. Get a real balsamic. And this is one from the little Beaufort shop here in town that somebody gave me, so I kind of wanted to give it a try. And you can see it's thick. It's not just water. And it's good too. So I'm going to give this a toss, and we're going to add some, oh, that's my rice. Hold on a second. I'm going to add some kosher salt. And normally I do white pepper. Here, but I'm actually out, so I'm just going to do my mixed pepper. And you want to let this sit about 30 minutes and just let those flavors marry and develop and come together. And it's at this point I'll bring my salmon out, because you want your salmon to sit out for 30 minutes to start to come up to room temperature. But isn't that pretty? Super simple. Lot of ingredients. We have strawberries, basil, garlic, shallots, and some balsamic, salt and pepper. Here we go. So I'm going to set this aside, and then we'll get our salmon started. So I have my 2 pieces of salmon, and I'm setting them out, letting them come up to room temperature. And I am going to generously, with kosher salt, season them with salt. And I'm going to, again, do my mixed pepper blend here. I just want to keep this super simple and basic because I do not want anything else to fight against that beautiful strawberry salsa that we made. And again, we want to do both sides. Get this seasoned nicely. And yes, these are just huge. I didn't realize I was buying salmon that was so big. So again, we're going to let this sit for 30 minutes to come up to room temperature. We're going to let our strawberry salsa sit for 30 minutes and come up to room temperature. And then we'll be ready to sear and get this plated up. So I've got my skillet on. I've got this on high heat. Make sure that's up there. I really want my skillet hot. I'm going to let this heat up for a couple minutes. I want my skillet to be pretty much smoky. When you drop your salmon in there, you really want it to sear and not cool down your pan. And you also want to let your pan get hot before you put your oil in. So it's looking good. It's been a couple minutes. I'm going to go ahead and give that a swirl of avocado oil. Definitely you want a high heat oil here. And then we're going to do our salmon, and we're going to do it what would have been the flesh side down and the skin side up. Now, I like my salmon medium, but this is a pretty big piece of salmon. So I'm going to go 4 minutes aside. So I'm going to go ahead and set my timer for 4 minutes. So you see how I can see the edges starting to cook. So I'm going to go ahead and flip mine, even though it hasn't been 4 minutes. So now we're going to give them another 4 minutes on this side. And if you wanted yours medium rare, do them like 2 or 3 minutes aside. If you want them cooked longer, obviously just do them a couple more minutes. So our salmon's almost done. I'm going to give it a little toss here and a little taste. Might need a little salt or something. It's perfect. It's sweet and tangy all at the same time. So delicious. My salmon's about done. I'm going to pull them out and let them rest at least 2 minutes. And I don't want to let them rest in my skillet because obviously my skillet's hot. It's going to keep cooking. So I've got some basmati rice. I've got some asparagus in the oven. So just a nice, beautiful, simple dinner. Basmati rice, asparagus, and this beautiful salmon with strawberry salsa. Yum. So I've been making this dish since the early 90s, since my days at the Atlanta Country Club. And Chef George made it. He was the first one that introduced me to this. He made it for one of our menus, and I thought, that's the weirdest thing I've ever heard of, strawberries and salmon. And he said, trust me, and I did, and I would always trust him. And I did, and he was ever so right. It is so delicious. So amazingly delicious. So we've got our rice. I'm going to put my piece of salmon over that. I'm going to add some asparagus. Obviously, this is what we're having for dinner tonight. I don't know if you can see out there. The sun's about to go down. And then comes the best part, the topping it with our strawberries here. Now, I don't know if you saw this video before. I did this video like 2 years ago. It didn't get very many views, so you might not have But it was just time to redo it. It needed to be redone and shortened up a bit. But just look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Doesn't that look gorgeous? How beautiful. So I'm just going to make myself a little bite here. You know, the sacrifices I make for you. A little piece of salmon and some strawberry. It's so delicious. I have never made this dish for somebody that did not like it. Trust me when I tell you. Salmon, strawberries, it's a beautiful combination. Thanks for watching today. Thanks for being here. I hope you all make this. Please send me a note if you do. Or just send me a note to say hi. Whatever you do, have a beautiful day, and I'll see you later. Bye, guys. Thanks. Love ya.